the dead. So this, folks, this is what happens when you use a computer from 2009 and you forget to switch on the laptop cooler underneath. It overheats and then it shuts down. So all these fans, I forgot to switch the flipping thing on. All that cooling is necessary for Google Hangouts on an old computer. So what I've got to ask everyone to do a hangout with, they have to ask me, Ben, have you switched your fan on?
You need someone with SI to do that. I will try to remember, but I don't know that I will.
I've got post-it notes everywhere. I've got it like on the top of the computer. Put the cooler on the other monitor. Put the laptop cooler on. I've got it here written on this bit of board.
Yeah.
Put the cooler on. I've got it on my desktop. Put the cooler on. Oh, intuitive type. Right, so we'll get back to the. It just literally overheats and shuts down. That's it. Right.
So I'm going to update you while you're finding stuff. Can you do what you need to do if I read something to you, or will that be too distracting?
Pardon?
If I read what I was telling them to you while you're finding your slide, will that be too distracting?
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. That's the advantage of NE, I guess.
Yep.
I was reading. There's this little chart that I found about the two definitions between NI and in Socionics and NI in MBTI.
Yeah.
And there was a critique that said NI in both definitions considers patterns over time, or weaving multiple bits of data into a single narrative, stretching over the past into the future. However, the MBTI definition of NI considers the consistency of ideas and thoughts with an internal framework. And that would be more something that Socionics would define as belonging to TI. So you said something about FI and NI maybe being difficult to sort out. So I thought that was interesting that in this author's opinion, some of the things that MBTI describes as being related to NI, it crosses over with what TI is actually about. So I just think it's funny how with INTPs, you guys have the capacity to just like jump, and you put them in boxes, but you don't always come to the same conclusions. You know, like you and Victor are pretty in sync with each other. You kind of have the same thoughts about how things cross over. But I've read INTPs who maybe they're more Socionics, classical, I don't know, but they don't.
Well,
they don't line them up exactly the same. They say, well, that is TI, or that is FI. No, this is NI. All those introverted functions, I think, are difficult for people.
Yeah. Where I differ with Victor is on the temperaments, because I'm big in the Kersey, and he has his own temperament system, which is based on the Indian temperaments. I very much respect the. As people know, I keep working Kersian, and because of the influence of Jeff on me. I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, before I had a nice little system going on where my mouse, I had to switch my mouse on, and the switch for the fan was next to it. So when I'd use the computer, and the mouse doesn't work, then I would remember, I've got to switch the mouse on, and then I'd switch the fan on as well. So I've got to try and get a new, because this is just going to keep happening. I'm going to have to try and get I'm going to have to try and get a switchable. But it wasn't enough power to run the mouse and the laptop cooler off the same switch. I don't know what I'm going to do because I just keep forgetting. Right, so, and that's probably why the screen was going black when I was doing the screen share. It was overloaded in.
And you do have a little bit of an echo, like, or a lag, like it's kind of repeating what you say.
How about now?
It's not now. It kind of goes in and out.
Yeah, I think it was when I started the share screen.
Oh, okay.
Right, so now we have. Okay, so that second bullet point is a little bit the one about the more powerful the function, the distance. Probably depends on the function that's in that position, because some are more. So, for instance, TE as well. you're going, or SE, you're going to notice when that function's coming at you, or any. That certain functions are just more noticeable.
Yeah. So just put in parentheses, more true for extroverted functions.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes with TI as well. Yeah. Like Jeff will go, that's a lot of theory there, INTP boy.
Does that mean he wasn't listening? Like you lost him a half hour ago?
I don't know. He wouldn't say INTP boy, anyhow.
I would. Maybe that's an FETI type of thing.
But and then now this part of the model is for introvert, it's an externality, and Victor believes that introverts, their top row, the way they interact in society through all of their introverted functions, and their extroverted functions are suppressed by the top row, and that for extroverts, their top row are all extroverted functions. I'll show that in a moment. I'll just say, so I'll just read through this bit at the side. I'm going to zoom in a little bit.
Sure.
Because we've not got time. So externalities cortex activated by external stimulation of the function. Okay. Gotcha. Right. So you are actually launched by TI. So you might be being launched right now.
Yeah, it does. It does. Well, it's interesting because I think what that means for me is that I have a zillion more questions. Because I do believe that that's what NI does. It's asking questions from every possible angle. So what does that mean? With this new bit of information, how does that fit? What does it change? What does it affect? What can we project to happen because of that new piece of information? And TI is such dense chunks of information that then it's like it explodes the questions. So well then how does that affect it? Well then what does that mean? Is that true for this person? How does that affect me? You know?
And it will work differently with ISFJ because their launcher is TI+, which Victor says in the ISFJ profile, IFE profile, that they like simple, clear instructions combined with their SI. Now Dario would say, well, those two things are the same. The SI is like you buy the book, algorithmic logic.
The how-to. Well,
not
always. That's more SITE to me. The how-to books are SITE, but it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Yeah, although, yeah, you're right. I mean, there are differences. I'll have to have a look at the Dario hangout and ask him about that. Right, externalities indicates that this functional circuit is directed outward on society. So the top row. So he thinks that INFJ, all their introverted functions are directed towards society.
NI, FI, TI, SI, everybody's supposed to be seeing all of that in me.
Well, I don't really know what it means by directed towards society, as towards, it might not, but he also says that the demonstrative function is very noticeable. And of course, demonstrative FE is like going to be one of the most noticeable. Auxiliary FE is going to be one of the most noticeable functions because it's a very noticeable function because it's so expressive.
Sure. I'm wondering if there's not, if this is a translation, like quandary. Like maybe this idea again.
Oh, you've got fan problems too.
I do, but it's just blowing on me so I don't get hot in this room.
Okay.
Because the word circuit, this functional circuit, is that like a loop?
Yeah, there's a loop for this, because the loop
this top
starts
row,
with...
they're starting this top row is the loop.
For yours, and what starts it is the TI. The TI feeds into the NI, so it's the TI first. TI is not the strongest in the INFJ, but it's the most sensitive. So this is why you can get INFJs that are like proper intellectuals in terms of like subjects that you would think, oh, whoa, that's an NT subject, like say mathematics or physics, or is that they're the TI and the NI. Maybe I was a little bit wrong with the NI and the FI. Maybe it's like there's certain states that INFJs can get into where it's like a weird combo of FI and NI. But I think what the two that can be really hard to see is NI and TI together.
Yeah. I think people start worrying about me when that's my circuit.
Right.
when I'm in my NIT mode, I spend a lot of time there. I'm trying to sort through a problem. I might be really stressed because I'm not getting very far, and it's because I need to be balanced with those other extroverted functions. But maybe they will notice it because the FE has totally dropped out of the picture. You know, like I'm so laser focused and in my own world. The children will come into the room and I don't even hear them. You know, my husband will have left and come back and left and come back twice, and I wouldn't have noticed.
Wow, I wish I had that.
It isn't very happy family experience. Like I when I come out of it and I'm ready to get an SE and FE, I feel so guilty. Like, I'm so sorry. How are you? Okay, and I have to like re-engage because I checked out. Like I just was not there for them.
You don't want to do that when driving?
No.
No. Wow. So hopefully you can control it.
Yeah, I do have to. I have to turn on music or, yeah, kind of get me pumped up and more attention to what's around me. There are days where I think the few times I've ever gotten a speeding ticket, I was probably in an NITI loop.
Possibly, yes.
Because I was just musing and didn't pay attention to my foot on the pedal.
Yeah, okay, I believe you. Because anybody else, I wouldn't. But I believe you because it would have been. You just forgot. Right. Okay. So we've got. And then here's a quote. The externalities group takes precedence whenever the society is involved. Therefore, we placed it above internalities. Because when it comes to survival and development, Socion is of greater importance than a single type.
What does that mean? Socion
well,
is
that's society. That's society at large.
That does not make any sense. Okay, this is what I hear in this quote, so clarify for me. Is that okay?
Yeah.
What I'm hearing is this specific to all types, like, or just INFJ? Was this bullet point the same?
All types.
So no matter your type, when you're in public, you're extroverted, your externalities are going to be more important and more at play. Is that what that's saying?
I think it's when you're engaging in your social mission. Like your sort of role in life.
So when I'm being a counselor, I am more focused on...
Yes, and that's why it suppresses... You might be using more the FI and suppressing the FE. It's a little bit clear in INTP that INTP is not going to be as flaky in NE.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a silly question. Maybe you've already said... So it says externalities is positions 1 to 4. And the reason why I'm having such a difficult time with the term externalities is because I'm so used to breaking things up in introverted, extroverted, and external sounds extroverted to me because it's external. But he's saying your introverted functions across 1 to 4 is where you put all of your energy when dealing with the public, doing your social mission block. So when I'm in a counseling mode, I am going to focus 1 through 4 externally.
Yeah, and it's also that another way of putting it would be that introverts do have an extroverted side, but it's like a side within them that's smaller.
So then we might have to do another. We might have to do another video hangout and double check because I'm so borderline on the I.E. introvert extrovert. I'm wondering if a different profile would make me have less exceptions to these rules.
Well, it's the INFJ profile is in the pipeline.
Because when you say that that's a smaller piece of me, it's like, by what standard?
You see, this is where the model. It's because of FE. It's because the functions are not equal. It can mess the model up a little bit because the FE. Because
it's just rocking your world.
Yeah, with the ISFJs and INFJs, the FE is messing with the model.
We need our very own model.
Yeah, but yeah, generally, I suppose but he also says that the demonstrative function, the FE function, is also very noticeable. And because it is a function with maximum energy. So demonstrative FE is very noticeable. But I suppose when you're counseling someone, you might have less FE energy and it's more FI than FE. So when you're in that mode, the FE is suppressed. And you've said yourself that you don't have the energy for FE mode all the while and that it's draining.
Yes. Yeah, I think the more people in a group, the more FE starts to present itself for me. Like if it's a family gathering or a group of friends, or I'm with a close friend but in a really public place, I have more of that desire for harmony, desire to keep the peace. You know what I mean?
And I've just noticed something. That would be a shift towards ESFJ, I suppose. ESFJ
I've been told in online groups when we are having lots of people participate in a discussion live, somebody will tell me, Crystal, I think you might belong to the Alpha Quadrant.
It's probably a shift. This is something I've learned from Maria, is that's probably the way sometimes I'm in Hangouts, I might seem to shift towards ENFP. Like starting to hang out with like the big N. I don't know if you've seen the video since. It sort of makes more sense. Or right now going, this is what I had today, folks. A peppered steak slice. Oh, it's gone ENFP again. Pre-planned. An ENFP would not pre-plan their randomness. So you're asking good questions here, Crystal, because that is a tricky concept, internalities, externalities. And so, but you've said there yourself that the extroversion is lightly suppressed within yourself, and that you don't have energy for full-on FE mode all the while, and that you find it draining, like when you've done teacher, when you've helped out with teacher. So there you can see that sort of block, the NI and the FI is suppressing the extroverted functions to a certain extent. And so then it says here, indicated by down arrows, top functions suppress lower functions, but on its territory, the bottom functions are free from the control of the upper functions. Analogy, ride a horse. So when you're with people, you are more, but again, this might, so maybe there's two different modes of FE usage for you, where when you're with people you're more comfortable with, you will show more FE, but also when you're, say when you're interacting with people at a party, then you're going to be using FE, but it's a completely different situation just because of the nature of the function itself.
Yes, absolutely.
It'll slightly differ from the model.
Well, and I would say that it's the nature of the interaction that determines whether FE is present or not. When Jack did the interview for his channel of trying to decide what socionics type I am, I felt like my extroverted feeling was pretty high, and I was so exhausted by the end of that interview. I was really, really exhausted. And I think it was because I knew it was going to be playing for a really large audience, and so it didn't feel like I was just talking to him. I felt like mentally for me that I was talking to this crowd, and that is when FE comes out.
Same thing with me. I mean, you've seen me do, I don't know if you think I have a little bit more energy when I'm being recorded.
A little bit. Yeah, it's interesting.
So you probably, so this shifts idea is really interesting. It's like shifting towards ESFJ, shifting to ENFP. Right, how much time do we have left? 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
I'll give you about 3 more. I need to wrap up.
Right. Okay. So we need to what we need to do is just the most important thing is just these bullet points here. It's paired with the manipulative, so that's just like an MBTI with the lead function with the inferior function. The MBTI for me. Yeah, NI and SE, yeah. And the MBTI equivalent is the dominant function. It's the test phase in the tote model. What I'll do is I'll just put that on screen, and then people can pause it and read it for themselves, because we're on time. So I'll just look for the tote model. Tote model, it might be all the way up there. Tote. There it is. Right, so I'll put that on screen, and then that other bullet, so people can pause that, read that in their own time. I'll zoom it in a little bit. There you go, folks. Read it, think about it for yourselves. It's not that much time. And then you can read it, think about it yourselves. So it's the equivalent of the, right, and then we're going to say, then we'll just say what Dario said. Yeah, it takes a while to switch because it's an SVG. There we go. Right. Right, this is just about, you get more activity, more EEG activity for the lead function. But you can also get whole brain states when, say, oh yeah, so like NI, you'll tend to get like a whole brain state when they go in the mode, like that mode you talked about where you like blocked everything out, like a trance-like state that Dario's talked about. Or the SE types would have like a tennis hop pattern, like low energy state, waiting to be stimulated. And then when they are stimulated, it's like in the zone. That's why they're the best at sport.
Yeah.
And the NPs will go into like the Christmas tree. It means the flashing Christmas tree lights. It's asynchronous state, uses up a lot of calories. So that's for the perceiving functions. The SI specialized, and for the leading functions that are judging, it would be like specific areas of the brain that light up. And I'll show them now. We can sort of, is if I show you Dario's brain map here. I think we're sort of right. And I can also tell you about Victor's charges. Victor has NI plus. for INFJ. NI plus is maximizing the positive and is more hopeful about the future. NI minus is about minimizing the negatives, and so
Who is
with
an
INTJ,
NI negative? INTJ. Okay.
INTJ, and so they will look at the negative consequences and things that can go wrong. And this is because in the Iranian dichotomies, INTJ is negativist and INFJ is positivist. And so this is why INTJ is usually good at contingency planning, because they know where things can go wrong and they plan for things going wrong. And so they plan for things going wrong.
Okay,
Whereas
I
INFJ,
have Enneagram 6 as part of my tri-type. And 6 is a worry wart and is always trying to predict the worst case scenario. So I think that might be why I didn't really relate to that piece about positive confidence and being patient that the goal is going to come to pass, like in that NI block that we read. I think that might be why I'm kind of more of a mix of positive and negative, because at the end of the day, I always plan on best case scenario and hope for it and want it, but it takes me a while to get to that sense of confident peace. I spend a lot more time ruminating, wondering, making sure than maybe other INFJs. I don't know.
well, I mean, and also non-socionics factors can change things as well, like things in your history can make people more worrisome.
Well, there you go. There you go. I think growing up in the chaotic environment that I grew up in probably has everything to do with that.
Right.
I think that's probably exactly the difference.
Right. So, because we've only got a few minutes left, this bit here, NI, behind the right ear, this reads, so I advise people to watch the NI Hanging Out with Dario Nardi. There's a playlist on my channel that says all this stuff about the Dario Nardi. If you just put in Dario Nardi NI Hangout, how this area is very active, T6, and it's also active in SJs, but it's not connected to the possibilities. So, for instance, this is why SJ is planning to the future, assuming the future is going to be like now. So that's why they can be quite rigid. They assume the future is going to be just like now, and there's a surprise when things turn out differently. Whereas the INFJ, INTJs, it's more connected to the region P4, and so they can see how things might change into the future.
I think that must be why my attempts to cheer up my STJ daughter fall flat. Because I try to remind her it won't be like this forever, and she doesn't believe me.
Right. I think we are. What I can do here is I can just like pause it on screen, just show it on screen, and then people can read it themselves.
The plus minus.
Oh no, it was just for the the NI.
Oh.
But I will do the plus minus as well, so people can think about that, because we are short on time. Unless you want to comment on it.
This is a test, like withdraw from the world and check whether synergy results, try out a realization to transform yourself. I mean, I would say that's a lot me. A whole lot me.
Right. And then just we got a line. There's oh yeah, there's one. May over rely on your conscious if they go too far, too far down the rabbit hole.
Yes.
Right. What else? Right. Now I'll show a little bit on judges, because I am respectful of what he said about the time. Right. NI. So that we're looking for T. Oh, where's T gone?
It's there on the right.
Oh, you see, the pressure's on. I'm fumbling away. There it is.
Okay,
right. Right. Intuition of the future.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That I'm constantly in a state of wonder. wondering, and then that believing in a good outcome. It just takes me a while to get there, probably because of my past. But I am hopeful, and I do always try to hold a vision of what I want, and I'm reaching for that. I think what's funny is being not surrounded by very many intuitive types, and my husband not being an NI type, this constant wondering about the future and trying to create a vision, I feel like I need it framed more positively. Like if I had an INFJ mentor who helped me see the way that I do this in a positive light, it would be very helpful, because I tend to feel guilty that somehow I'm not satisfied, or that that I'm always restless, that I can't just relax and enjoy life because I spend too much time thinking about the future, worrying about the future, anticipating the future. That if I could just be more present, I would be happy. Like that is the message of a lot of people in my life. And so it's just funny when I review typology, and probably why I'm so obsessed with it, is it says, but that's what your brain is built to do. That's what Crystal's brain is built to do, is constantly think about the future. Would I actually be happier if I stopped doing that? Like, I don't know.
And and one of the ways to think about the future is to oh no, there it is. Right, that's Millie's suggestion. She came up with these weird graphics. He says, "Oh, it's Japanese." So support and join, folks. And is that talking about the future? Just to be self-indulgent, I suggest you buy some gold. Hedge against things going wrong.
Because that's what NFs are thinking about.
Pardon?
I was like, because that's what NFs are thinking about, is that kind of future. Sorry, it's not what my mind's worrying about. My husband, yes, he's thinking about our financial future. I'm thinking about my relational futures on all aspects.
Oh, right, okay.
Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, you know, you listen to Peter Schiff, I think. I don't know. I don't want to out you.
Yes, I know of him because of you. I'd never heard of him before.
Okay, that's fair enough. Right, so so bye-bye, folks. Crystal has to go.
Thanks so much, Ben. See you later.
Okay. Sorry for the technical problems.
It's all good.